Hello guys, I'm Fallout 4 guy and welcome to my behind the scenes video to my Red Rocket player home. So if you didn't manage to catch the original tour to this one, I recommend doing that first. There's a link in the description, mainly because it's a short video, so obviously you'll get through it much quicker. This is going to be long and in depth, but also because all the little gadgets and doors and anything interactive items and stuff won't work basically in this, because obviously I'm in workshop mode, so I can't click anything. So yeah, definitely best to see it that way first, and then by all means come back here and you can see the dissected version. So I am going to talk about the build process as well in this one, and also in the description there'll be sort of timestamps, just so you can jump to certain areas if you want to see, you know, how the car was done or how the helicopter, for example. Any of those you can just sort of click them and skip ahead. But if you want to hear me, as I say, talk about the build process, then yeah, please stay tuned. So I did mention in the original tour that this is my I think I said my 5th in the tour, but it could be my 4th, or I'm not sure. But I definitely haven't published 5 on my channel. I think there's about 3 on my channel. But this is the say the 4th or 5th time I've built here, and yeah, I do like Red Rocket, but I don't think I'll be building here again. If I do, it definitely won't be a player home. I think this is literally, if you go back and look, you'll see that this is the best one. I think this is I think I've progressed and my skills have sort of reached the point where I sit now. I'm not really going to do anything else here player home wise. But yeah, the sort of the idea behind this was to do a quicker build. You know, I'd just come off the back of doing Nuka City, and it just kind of sort of took a bit of a drain out of me. That one did. It was a big build. If you haven't seen that, have a look and you'll see what I'm talking about. And yeah, I wanted a little break, so I thought, oh, I'll do a little player home. And where will I do it? Oh, Red Rocket, because that's easy. It's nice and quick, and yeah, it didn't quite turn out that way. It's ended up to be, I think, about a week, and I only wanted to spend about 2 days on it. So yeah. But anyway, the very first thing I built when I got here was this shipping container. So I knew in my head roughly what I wanted to do with the place. Very sketchily, I hadn't got a real major plan. I just thought, yeah, I kind of want to do this and this, and I had these ideas, and then I thought, well, I'll put this shipping container here. And originally I was going to have this lead into another room, which was going to come off here and have like a little separate something, I don't know, maybe an armory, maybe a sort of power armor type thing or something. I knew I was going to have something. So I kind of built this modular one from USO. You get these modular shipping container parts just because I wanted the side door. So yeah, I built this part, and basically I thought, well, yeah, I'll do that sort of idea later on. So I left it, and I did not come back here till about 20 hours later until I kind of like realised I wasn't going to do any of that stuff I thought I was going to do. But I did end up using the shipping container, as you can see, for the back door. So none of this stuff here was this wasn't here. I just left it towards the end. Sometimes I'll put the walls in first in a build, and sometimes I'll do it at the end. With larger stuff, like for example the Nuka City one I was mentioned earlier, that one I put the walls in at the end because I didn't know how big the place was going to be. But then sometimes if you put the walls in first, like I did this one, like I left that bit open, but I put the wall around this part now and then come across here, because I kind of knew that I wanted to keep this place as small as possible, and not, you know, kind of spread out the edges of the Red Rocket sort of footprint, because I wanted it to be a small build, so I didn't want to use all that space. So I'll put this wall in next. That was the next thing I did, and I tend to try and use as a larger objects as I can, if where possible. So you can see the tilted tilted bus, with the door sort of facing the top, so I could enter it on the gantry that I make above it, the little walkway. So I thought, yeah, it'll be cool to go in there, and I'll have a room in there. So I was going to have something in there. It was going to be an extension of whatever I built on top of there, basically. But of course that didn't happen at the end. It turned into be like a little shooting defensive position. But again, that was the idea at first. But by using the larger objects for the walls, you kind of you get away with not having to you know, build too much stuff on there. Although I do decorate the wall, as you can see. If you want to, you know how to kind of like make these junk walls, or you know what kind of formula to use, basically it's simple just to just to follow this simple rule, do not use repeated textures. That's all I can say. Don't use the repeated stuff. The more times I see a texture that's the same next to each other, the more it kind of like breaks my immersion to the point I'm like, oh, I can't even look at that now. And so that's one of the main things really. Just use as many different textures as possible, and just kind of like just start to layer it up. Now you'll see there's a fence. Look, there's another piece of wall. These half walls are just the ones from USO. And then I've added like the spikes from USO and the sandbags, the breeze blocks, tires, all the stuff you can see. There's nothing really hidden that you can't really point out. The fence toppers though, the barbed wire and the lights are from OIC's. Are they from his requested? I think they're from his. There's a mod he's done. It's called requested, work in progress requested one, and it's in my description. And I think it's from that. It's got these barbed wire pieces to it. Very cool. And the same from his light mod as well, which is also in my description. These ones you don't need to wire these up. These little single construction lights. They're just for show, and then you add the light source on afterwards, which is like a little light bulb we put at the front, but I haven't bothered adding them onto this part because the light just doesn't shine out that far, so there's no point. But the effect is quite cool that they look like these I had this kind of idea where these these cities in zombie movies where they've got these big fences, the barbed wire caps on the top, and then they've got all these floodlights shooting down. That's kind of like what image I had in my mind when I sort of built that. But yeah, as you see with the walls, so the trick is just not to repeat, and I tend to never use these. Very rare I use one piece of these junk walls. And you see it's only the one part there, and it just seemed to fit there perfectly next to the bus that I've got sort of tilted sort of down the hill a little bit. It looked like it's sort of rolled down there a bit. But yeah, so yeah, junk walls are just one of those things that you just have to kind of like put a lot of mixed up stuff on really. Same for this part as well. Didn't really need to add any of this stuff. It just makes it look a little bit more scrappy and fallouty. And the little dog kennel stroke garden area that it was going to originally be a garden area. Again, I kind of left this towards the end. I marked it out with the fences, so I knew. Again, something was going to be there of that type of theme. Originally I was going to have like a vegetation thing that was going to have a little farm growing. The reason I didn't do that though is because obviously it's underneath here, and I thought, well, that's not going to be any good to grow crops, is it? No sunlight, so I didn't bother doing that. But I'd already put all the dirt down, and then I was like, oh, I'll have is like livestock, like chickens and things. Did have some chickens in, I had a little chicken coop thing, but they kept teleporting onto the roof for some reason. Don't know why. Some would stay, some wouldn't. The usual NPC shit where they'll always end up on your roof. So it kind of evolved into the dog kennel. This dog seemed to stay. Dog meat didn't. He kept moving even though I told him to stay and sit. Yeah, odd fallout, usual glitches that happen to Bethesda games. But yeah, that was the next thing, and then I think. So that was sort of happened at the end. The rain catcher was early on. Funny thing about these kind of contraptions, I suppose when you look at my builds, you probably think that the vehicles themselves take the longest amount of time, or anything like anything other than these small things really. But this probably took well, I don't even know, hours and hours. I built about 10 of these things, not exaggerating, 10 of them. And none of them looked like how I wanted them to look. And I've built rain catchers in the past, in previous builds, for other player homes. So I've done a few different types of ones, but I wanted one specifically to come off the roof. I knew that that's kind of like the look. I had built one originally on the roof, but I thought, I don't really want it up there, because I had other ideas for the roof. And then so I sort of brought it back down here, and I had like a gully system at one point. We got drain pipes and things, and I had like bathtubs catching it, all the rain and stuff, and it didn't look quite right. They didn't look shit, but they just didn't. There wasn't like how I wanted it to look for this. So in the end, settled up with this design, which is just a ball track part, that fits to the tarp. It runs off the tarp, hits the ball track, goes into this little sink, which funnels it down into this pipe, which is just a normal piece of pipe out of CVA, or this could be one of OSC's, I'm not sure, but either way you get it in both mods. And then into this tank, which the tank could be from Akiras Clutter. There's a few different versions of it in there. There's a tall one, a skinny one, this little fat one. Basically, just get all the mods that's in my list if you want to recreate these things, and you're good to go. And then you can see it's just a normal water pump there, and then the condenser. Added a few pipes and things to it as well. So it's not, it didn't take long to actually build. It just takes a long time to come up with the actual design that I'm happy with. I kind of like stuff to look like they work. That's the main thing. So designing this is pretty much like designing one in real life. Like, would it work? And the other versions that I did just didn't quite look right to me. So yeah, so that's a funny thing. So these sort of take a while, and I did build it early on in the build. So you spend about 20 hours into the build. Sometimes you look at it and think, oh shit, I've got nothing. I've got a rain catcher and a couple of walls. That's it. But yeah, once I get into the groove and get past those certain things, it starts to really motor along. So talk about motor along onto the vehicle. So this I really like this car. It's probably one of my favourites ones I've done, and mainly because it's got no base vehicle, like I said in the original tour. But this is probably, I think, the fourth one I've done with no base vehicle. And the reason why I've sort of stopped using the base vehicle now is just because I've really run out of ideas. I'm pretty much to the point where I've built a lot of vehicles now, and I find that using the base vehicle kind of really limits me now on what shapes and what sizes I can do things. It's really hard to kind of come up with unique ones, just off the back of the standard size that you're getting with the in-game cars. and yeah, so generally, like, without getting rid of that now, you're kind of free to do whatever you want, shapes wise. And this one in particular, like with the let me just remove that, with the supports that you can see sort of here now, it's not really based on any particular vehicle, but it's based on the premise that it's got like a roll cage. So I designed the roll cage to look like it was strong, and I don't know shit about cars. This might not look that strong to someone who knows how to build car designs, I don't know, but to me it looked like it had all the supports in the right places. If it rolled over, it would be strong, and so that's kind of like what I was going for with that look. And it's just a case of tilting the supports. This is from OSC's mod, supports posts and beams, or whichever way it says it. Again, it's in my description, and they're just tilted to different angles with QwaPA, obviously. The only way to tilt on PS4. If you haven't used QwaPA yet, give it a try. It is really good. It's a game-changing mod. Of all the mods that I've got, if I had to lose all of them, QwaPA would be the one that I just really won't want to give up. And you couldn't really build anything like this on PS4 without that mod. It enables you to tilt all this stuff. So yeah. So some of the objects, I'll go through what's on here now. So you've got the guardrails from USO to make the bumper. Got one behind it as well, a smaller one. I've just layered two up just to make it look a little bit more beefy. And then again, exactly the same guardrail again, but now tilted. Slightly smaller guardrails, I think, are from Akiras Clutter again. And the lights, same lights are on the fence outside. Construction lights. And then it's all mounted on just to a normal guardrail, but if you look, it's slightly tilted just to sort of mirror the shape of the wheel arch coming down. And you'll see that's tilted as well, look, not just on its side but also at an angle to match that. There's a lot of tilting. Probably about 80% of this vehicle is tilted, but some of them are so subtle that you wouldn't really notice it. Like, you maybe don't see that's tilted. Of course you'll see that's obviously tilted. It's just a normal metal railing from USO, but tilting its side, and that's obviously tilted. But then there's lots of little bits that you don't notice. More so in the framework or the barrels, even though I could have just put those flat in the back of it, but I wanted it to look like, so everything that's been stored in the back is accessed by this little door here, which is again another tilted railing. So it looks like a handle, so it opens that down, this piece slots out, and then everything can kind of just slide off the back of it. That was the plan. So yeah, so there's tilting for the sake of tilting, and there's tilting just subtly to look like it actually, you know, has a reason. It's like on a sloped bed at the back. But yeah, so I get asked a lot about wheels. The wheels are always from CVA. That's the only mod I know of that gives you any wheels. It only gives you this one, which is the one that's in USO anyway. It's the normal one that's in the tyres section, and it gives you this inner one, which I can't click on now because that's in the way. So basically they're made up of two parts. So when you get the wheel, they're just flat on the floor in CVA, and then I tilt them up vertically and then put them together to make the two wheels, so it looks like it's one wheel. And then the little hubcap that I just deleted off that one is just an armoured, it's a helmet from the Disciples. So just put a little hubcap on it. You probably wouldn't even notice that necessarily, it's only small, but it just stops that little hole that you get there with nothing on it. And there's a few other armour parts as well. Raider piece, which is just the part that's holding the gas canister on. Another one there that's like a handle to climb up. And then I don't know what that is, just thought it looked cool. A gas canister, that's the pack armour. That's a mailbox. And yeah, so I've kind of, and that's another armour piece as well. I kind of just sort of combined just a few things that look a bit interesting really, to make it look like, you know, there's more stuff on the bodywork. The little spikes are just the fences from USO. Minigun you can see, spotlight, chain link fence, again tilted on its back slightly to give it a bit of a mesh look on the windscreen. And you can see there's another piece of mesh the other side, which is a wire fence. And then all the stuff that's actually on it, like the shovel and things that have been attached, and that's all just decor. You can see what all that stuff is. The little what do they call that bar at the back, the anchor hook, that is actually an anchor. I was going to have a trailer actually, I was going to build a trailer here that was going to be disconnected, and just so it looked like, you know, I couldn't just bring stuff back in, but I didn't do that in the end. The whole point of this sort of scrapyard area is just because, you know, the main theme of the house is like a sort of inventor, or you know, like a MacGyver type character. So I wanted lots of stuff to be just sort of cluttered around that you know, you can kind of build out of. And I was going to have this trailer, and it's going to be the way he gets all the stuff back, but yeah, I just didn't do it in the end. I have all these ideas that I kind of like. I might have 1,000 ideas for one build, but I'll use like say 100 of them, and then the rest I'll just stick in other builds at some point, you know. But yeah, that little bit outside, that's, I don't know if you've noticed that, but the little chimney there with some smoke coming out. It's just using AC parts and stuff. It's actually connected to the little wood burner inside. I've built lots of little fireplaces before, but this is probably one of my favourite ones, just because it looks kind of like a wood burner should look like. It actually looks like it realistically works, and it's just another guardrail, a safe of all things, and then that little like AC unit thingy from, I think it's from the Sanctuary player home actually at the in the start of the game, but yeah, and then AC ducting. Tilted again, and that's it. But dead simple, but it looks cool, and bit of wood for the mantle, and then the little pot with all the bricks that are meant to look like coal. I think these pieces, oh yeah, Zen Rock, yeah, they're from OIC's requested mod again, I think, as well. He made a little like a Zen garden thing, and those they just look like coal to me, so I put them on there. But yeah, so the build process for this, basically, I mean, again, I kind of know roughly where I want certain things, but I don't have any rooms mapped out. So when I started building, and when I actually got to the inside, This was one of the last rooms I actually put in. I do all my decorating last, of course. Well, not all of it. Some of the like larger objects like sofas and stuff I stick in just so I can know roughly how much room I've got. But I don't bother putting all the little bits of clutter in, like the cars and stuff like that. I leave that till the end. But yeah, this room itself wasn't here. So just a little tip while I'm talking about that with Red Rocket or any build really. You know, by dividing the place up, it actually makes the place look a lot bigger than it is. You think to yourself that if I put walls and things in, of course it's going to reduce the size, and effectively that's what it does in many ways, but it also makes the illusion that it's a lot larger than it is. So, you know, everybody's probably seen Red Rocket, everyone knows what this place looks like. It's one of the first settlements you can build out of the game, and you know that you're coming through that wall there, that door, and this is like the main corridor, and there's a what you call it, a counter here, and this is all open. So everyone knows that layout, and like, you know, by changing it around, it kind of, you forget you're actually in Red Rocket really. That's the idea anyway. So I put sort of these walls in sort of mid towards the end of the build, but I still hadn't put like a living room. I just knew this is roughly where it was going to go. These are just the parts from Workshop Items base game. I think these are from just wall pieces. But I think they do a nice job of sort of dividing the place up. So these little contraptions, this is something I built again towards the end. There's, I suppose, the backstory behind this, as I mentioned, was the fact that he's like a crazy little inventor, and I wanted this to sort of be made out of all like household parts. So all these are just normal inventory items that you can drop. But if you want to make them sort of so you can tilt them and stuff like this and keep it sort of static, you drop it from your inventory as normal, and you go into workshop mode, pick it up, place it back down again, then set it as static using QwaPA, and then once that's set, you can go back in and you can adjust it, and it'll be locked in that angle then, and then you can use your place anywhere poles to sort of just sink them in, and it won't, if you try and do that obviously with it not being made static, it will just bounce around, and it won't obviously sit inside another object. So it's important to do that method first, but then you can start using these objects for anything really. So that's a shopping basket and phone booth. There was a little shock effect that's this is from CVA, these effects, and I've used them before. And people have asked sometimes how come theirs don't work, and as you can see mine wasn't working either then, but for some reason when you load up the game, the CVA ones bug out, so you have to just pick them up and then drop them again, and then it'll come back on. You'll have that happen with lights and things sometimes as well, you know, where you have to pick it up and then drop it and the light will come back on. But yeah, you can pretty much see most of the stuff that's involved in here. Some batteries powering it. A couple of lights and lamps, I don't know what they're for. A little gauge is made out of a kitchen scale, tipped upside down. Some knobs for the radio. But yeah, but I just thought it'd be a bit of a funny thing to make really. Everything else in the living room is pretty straightforward. So yeah, going back to the planning process again. So what I didn't know was I knew this room was going to be a workshop. I knew that for sure, and I had the idea, like I said, of the garage door leading into another room. So I knew that I was going to do that. So I left that until near the end. I didn't have anything put in there, and I knew that I wanted to have obviously a kitchen, living room, a bathroom, and a bedroom. So I just picked this as the kitchen because it was the biggest area. So the next thing I built was the kitchen. I tried a few different things. I put a few different like counters and things in, and I even used the one that you get from Sanctuary, you know, those kitchens, the standard kind of pre-built kitchens. I put one of those in, but it just looked shit. I was like, nah, can't really do that. It looked kind of boring, nothing special about it. So I thought, yeah, I'll make my own kitchen from scratch, and that's what I did. So I've used these counters, as you can see. There's a cooker like just mounted in there and make it like a tabletop one. The doors are from USO. I think they're just the Nuka doors from the saloon in, you know, in the cowboy place. They make good cupboard doors, and this is just another counter that's tipped upside down to make so it gives it the bottom to it basically. The little splashback thing is just metal walls, I think, from, oh, it's in German. That's from the Skylines mod, and they're always in German. And there's another piece there to give it like a bit of a lip to it. And that's about it really. The AC ducting, I use that a lot. It's from another one of OIC's. It's from the supports one, I think. And that is just what do you call those? The sneeze guards tipped upside down. Just gives it a bit of a lip on the canopy for the extractor, basically. I couldn't hear the word then. I've got a bit of a sore throat, by the way, so I sound a bit croaky, so I hope you can understand what I'm saying. The hooks, I think the hooks are from Akiras Clutter, but I can't be sure. But I've just hung like normal pots and pans, you can see. I hung them off there. And that's about it, really. These are all from OIC's Clutter. So the gadgets and stuff, after I'd put the outline of the kitchen in, I kind of wanted to do something that was, you know, fitting the theme of this, like cool type of stuff. So I kind of started to build these contraptions, and I think I built this next. Yeah, I did. I built this first. I don't really need to probably take this apart. You can kind of see it's all kind of clear what's here and what's involved. But there's certain choices I made with other things in mind, like the fridge I used to sort of house part of the engine. I wanted to also double up as the inside of the oven. Like it looks like a kind of filament, I suppose, off the oven there. So I sort of stuck that in there for that reason. And I normally put stuff like this in the large stuff next. Anything big I put it in, because I don't really want to put things like the AC and stuff in at first, which you normally would do in a real build. You'd put that kind of stuff in first, obviously, before you'd start putting your furniture in. But I put a lot of this stuff in last, because a lot of the big objects, I don't really know how much room they're going to take. So, you know, I wanted to get everything close, looking like it's sort of all been built purpose for it. So I end up leaving the AC decor and fine tuning of, like, say, pipes. You know, like there's pipes everywhere, look like going into the sinks. People probably don't even notice this kind of stuff, not outright anyway. Subconsciously you may notice it, but you know, things like that I put in last, really. But yeah, back to the oven. So why can't I click on that? Oh, because it's selecting the fire. So the grill is just a piece of roof venting. One you can see down there as well, that's the flamethrower underneath it. And then you'll see that, like, all these are just parts from the shipping container, just tilted in different directions. Again, you've got AC duct in there to make the extractor, and the diner shutter walls. And that's on all the way around it as well. And then you just framing it all in these pillars, really. Pretty easy. It looks kind of cool though, but that's about it. And then all this stuff here, like these aren't connected, these flame traps. They're just there to make it kind of look like there's pipes and things going on. Plus it hides the legs of the spit roast thingy. And then the reason why I put those ceiling pieces there is because the original lights are there, so it just hides those. And then the bedroom. When did I do the bedroom? So I built all these gadgets. I put the bed in quite early on. Again, I knew I wanted to do something cool with the bed. I knew I wanted to have like a real sort of gadgety type bed. I just didn't know exactly what I was going to do until near the end. So I chose this this Pulowski thing, because I really like this item. I've used this before. I've actually used it in one of my other red rockets as well. I used it on as an armor container, I think, or something. And I think it's quite a cool item, so I thought, yeah, I'm going to use that again. So I put it down, tilted on its back, and put a bed in it. I think I even stuck this fan in there, and I think that was about it. I just left it then. And oh yeah, I divided this wall off as well, because I knew where the end of the bed was going to finish, because obviously it's there. And I thought I'll put this wall in, and then I thought I'll put a bathroom in that room, and I just left it. And I didn't come back to it until about, I don't know, probably another 15-20 hours into it. And then I put the bathroom in, and the bathroom, I didn't pipe or anything. I just put the layout of the bathroom in, and then I came back to doing the bed. And it was near the end actually, the build, when I actually finished all the actual decor of the bed and stuff, and put this little wardrobe at the top with the clothes and stuff in. The little filtration thing is just the capsule wall. And then you can see there's an AC behind that, which gives it because you can't see through it then, because if you just put the capsule wall down, obviously you can see straight through it. So I just put that little bit of AC duct in that you can see there behind it. And you can see the console there, and this is just from the vault section in USO. And that's it really. Again, pretty simple. It's not very hard to make, but just normal posts. A lot of the times, you know, these things are just coming up with the idea and then getting it into place really. So the bathroom, as I said, I sort of put the stuff in first, sort of mapped it out where I wanted the bath. The shower screen is just a lighthouse door. And then I like to make it look like all this stuff works. I'm not a plumber, so it probably wouldn't work. But yeah, I just think it looks cool if I've got all these pipes and things. So the water system is off a barrel, as you can see, and then underneath these are from the same supports mod from OIC, and the glass thing is from the sneeze guard thing, whatever it's called. Just tilted again, and then you can see there's a little flamer coming through the wall there, just heated up. Sink for the top of the system of the toilet. The pipe is a piece of conduit. I could have used a pipe from CVA, but this is quite I like the thickness of this. It seemed to match with the little knuckle piece on there as well. And then the rest are just little bits of pipes and things. Just glitch through. So yeah, so all this piping again, so it's normally done near the end once I've got everything in. The little light above the mirror is just a poster. And the bed is just the bath is just boxed in with these wall pieces, mainly to hide this really, but also to make a little boxy looking bath. So yeah, I think that's everything in the kitchen and the bathroom. Lighting I always do last. Always put lighting, unless it's to do with wiring. In fact, that's a good way to mention this now. The shutter doors, whenever I put shutter doors or any kind of lights or wires and stuff into a build, I generally know roughly where they're going to be at the start of the build. So I knew the windows were going to have these shutters on. I didn't actually know that I was going to divide this room up when I put the shutter on, but it didn't really matter because I just did that later. So when I added the divider, I just put this post in here, which kind of falls in line with the shutter, so it looks like it's sort of fits on this track almost. So you've got the one piece there, and then you've got one piece there that like runs on the track. But I only added that in because obviously when I put the wall in, it was obviously half the shutter was coming through the other side. So yeah, so I always do this near the beginning, just because the wiring's easy to do when you haven't built stuff really. That's all. So I kind of do it from there. Also, this shutter went in first as well, near the beginning, because I've tilted this one outside, so one comes down from the ceiling, or obviously slides across. So they were near the beginning, but I did not do anything to this room. I just left it. In fact, I think this was one of the last things I actually did, was decorate the armoury. Again, it was mapped out, this was going to be an armoury. I'd got, like they say, the door in, and I got this back piece, this wall in, but nothing else was in there. I think I'd even got the power armour. Yeah, I'd even got the power armour room there as well, but again, I didn't have anything in it or anything like that. And I put the lasers in near the end as well. That was one of the last things I did. Don't need to tell you what's there. It's just two pieces of shack wall, and then a power armour frame up for the door. This is just a regular garage door from USO. Tilted on its side, you can just see there. And then I left all the clutter stuff to the end, mainly for technical reasons really. Like, I found that if you leave this stuff till last, you can kind of see how much you can really push it then. So I get all the main build stuff done first, the architectural stuff, the stuff that I need to, you know, to kind of sell the room of it, and then the clutter I can kind of, if I want to do more I can, if there's, you know, room to do more, and if not, if it's struggling, I can dial it back a little bit. So I normally do that at the end. This this cabinet is from OIC's military clutter mod, and the swords are just put inside that as well. And there's one of his lights that I've stuck at the front just to light it up. Look, that's without the light, with the light. Nothing to mention there. The AC ducting again I did all at the same time, near the mid to end of the build. Once all the stuff, all the big stuff had gone in, I started to put the AC ducting in where I wanted to do, and obviously it follows through, goes through this room. This room was empty at the time. Oh, it wasn't. It was empty up until I think this joint. So I put it. So I came through here to where I wanted that to be, and then I did the room, and then I finished it off when the room was finished. Yeah, the workshop. I don't have a workshop. I don't really use a workshop. So I had a little look on Pinterest to see what general workshops look like, and although this is not copied off any workshop in particular, one thing I did notice that a lot of the workshops that I saw had like all the drawers and stuff all built into the cabinets. So like obviously with the ones that we get, they're just standalone ones, so I just glitched them all in because it looked more like how a lot of the realistic ones looked. So yeah, so I've pretty much like just gone with this design where I've just stuck them all in. And another reason why I ended up with this design is because there's behind this one, you'll see there's the original workbench that I can't remove, or can't even move it actually. It's just sort of stuck there forever. And I didn't want to, well, I did use that one at first, but I didn't want to really use it towards the end. I kind of built around it. I was like, you know what, I don't really like that workbench. So I decided to build the wall out. So if you look, that's not a good one to take out. Take out that one. So if you look now from the distance between the actual original wall to where my wall starts, it's quite a big gap really. So I brought the wall out quite a way, and then built the counters on top of that. You don't really notice when you look at it that the rooms actually are smaller, but this entire wall along there to there to there, you can just see through the back of it there, and even to there is all fake. It's to hide that original workbench. But yeah, that's enabled then to sort of have this nice shape. I did have a 90 degree first, but I thought I'll put this 45 degree in because it looked a bit cooler. And then I've based the wall off that, and then and the rest of it I wanted it to look kind of like there's some parts that he's scavenged and kind of scavenged and kind of made, you know, use of, like these counters, obviously metal prefab counters, but then also that he's added to the scavenged parts and then, you know, built his own shelf and stuff. So that was kind of the look of that. I think it's effective. And then the drawers and stuff are just all the parts, cabinets and stuff, just put in. The little base of it is just these support beams. just to run around, just to kind of finish off, make it a little bit more solid really. And then the power armor frame was just a case of, well, I had a counter across here at one point, and I didn't like the way it looked when you come in the room. You just saw the back of this counter, you kind of missed all this detail, so I took the counter out, and then I put that counter along there, and then I also didn't like the fact that it just looked too much counter space. It was sucked. So then I put this power armor frame, and obviously, you know, most people do these power armor frames, they just put one down and that's it, job's done. But I kind of wanted to do a little bit more, something interesting than just do that. And I did ask RAC if you could put these foundry parts in for me before, prior to this, and one of the parts he had was this crane, and yeah, I've kind of just used it to sort of make a little makeshift lift really, just to be able to lift some of these parts. These power armor parts, they look heavy. I imagine them to be quite weighty, you know, they're like a big piece of the metal. So I thought this like made sense to make a lift. Goes up with all these other gadgetry in this house that, you know, like you'd have things for quality of life, and it's sort of controlled by this panel here, which is also from the same mod. Again, everything in the description. But yeah, so that's kind of like how that started really. And then this piece is also boxed in as well, because it's hiding the little box card door that you can see there, blue, coming through the wall. So yeah, so I'll just box that in, and this is just a normal workbench with no armor bench, sorry, with just some ply and metal and stuff on. Nothing really special about that. But yeah, I kind of once I built this out, I really liked the way that I kind of got this little built-in looking shelf, and then I could hide the button nicely, because I knew I wanted to do something cool with that, because everybody knows this door's here, obviously. You know, everyone knows that door opens, and I didn't really want to do like trying to hide it as such, because again, it's the point, everyone knows it's there. So I thought it would make more sense to sort of hide the button. In real life, that's kind of probably more likely what you would do, you'd hide the button. So I built the shelf out, and then just put some objects in front of it, as you see in the tour video. I sort of take these the antifreeze and stuff or whatever away, and it reveals the button. So I thought that was like a nice little byproduct of bringing the wall out further. And then these panels, I think these are from Akiras Clutter, I think. And again, these are here just purely because to hide something, and it's this wire, which I can't click on, but it's the wire that comes with the garage door originally, and I hated the way it just kind of clipped through, so I put that there to make it look like it's connected to the switchboard. So by the time I'd done the workshop, I knew this area was not going to be anything I thought it was originally going to be. So I ended up making this back part into like a little work yard with some stuff, and you know, just a little outside area for doing things, messy stuff, really, sawing and cutting and stuff. And then I did end up adding this wall in towards the end, but yeah, nothing special about that. And then the roof, sort of this catwalk up to the roof. I think, yeah, I put the catwalk in, but didn't have anything on the roof, and I didn't even know what was going to be on the roof at the time. I just knew I wanted to be able to access it. And I was going to do stuff with the inside of this bus as well, because obviously I tilted it to make it accessible. But I don't actually know at the time what I was going to put in there. I ended up just using it as my generator storage, and having it as a little shooting post thing. But yeah, I think at one point I was going to have it as like an extended part, like I was going to be able to come out of the secret garage door type thing and then come into something here, and yeah, it was all going to be connected. But I think this way looks better, it looks more natural. The thing is, like when you're trying to build sort of realistic stuff, sometimes if you go too elaborate with how stuff connects together, it kind of becomes a little bit immersion breaking as well. So a simple staircase would suffice in this scenario. And then with the up on the roof. Now, I don't mean any offence to anyone that's done this in the past. I've even done this in the past, but I don't like building on top of the roof. I generally think it looks stupid. It's very rare to see anything built on top of Red Rocket that in my opinion, looks like it would realistically work. You see these massive things stacked up on top of each other, these big wooden buildings, or even concrete I see, which is even more ridiculous. So I knew I did not want to do that. It was definitely out of the cards. But at the same time, I do understand that in this situation you probably would use the roof. It's like a big flat area. You know, it's ideal for certain things. It's quite a defensive position. You know, so I thought, yeah, I probably would use the roof in this situation. But I just didn't know what to put up here. Didn't want to build on it as a building. Didn't want to, you know, do anything too unrealistic. I thought I'll put a farm up here. That was one idea, because you know it's got a lot of sunlight. Said to my girlfriend about doing a farm, and she was like, yeah, that's a good idea, do that. And then I was like, no, I don't like the idea. So it's too boring. It's a boring idea. And then I'm in a Discord chat with some of my friends, and I was talking to them about it, and I was going to put like a defensive structure up here, like, you know, that was the other idea that I did think was practical. And then I said, oh, of course, helipad is what you would have up here, like, of course. And I was like, shit, I've got to build a helicopter now to put on it. Can't just have a helipad and no helicopter. So that's kind of where that idea came from. And then I think I sort of planned it out in the day in my head, and then by the time I got back on Fallout in the evening to build it, I'd already pretty much built it in my head. And then I think I spent about an hour and a half actually building this. And in that Discord chat I was chatting to my friends who had a few different ideas for cockpits, but I tried a few different things. I basically built a sort of prototype version with poles kind of giving the frame of the cockpit, a bit like I did on the vehicle down the bottom, and then I had the glass windows from the Vault stuff, I think, the white ones, the rectangular ones, coming down across the top and then down an angle and then down again, with the frame around it. So you basically had no side doors to it, and you just got in. It looked pretty cool, to be fair. But I really, in mind, I had a really clear view of the GTA Online chopper, the attack buzzard, one of the most popular helicopters in the game. And I was like, that was kind of like what was just sticking in my head. And I thought, well, yeah. So I kind of went back to the original idea that we'd sort of banded about in the Discord chat at the Memory Lounger, and it worked perfectly really for the cockpit. It's like almost like it's made for it. But yeah, so once that was sort of decided, I carried on then building the rest of it. I'd already got the frame working anyway from the first original design of it. This is just some Brotherhood of Steel part from OIC support mod, and there's two pieces extended there just to make it a bit longer, and then the mast is also from the same support mod. But they drop down to the floor because they're tilted. When you get them out of the mod, they're vertical, so I've just tilted them horizontally. And yeah, the only reason I wanted to use that piece is because I wanted this piece off it, basically, which is the sort of propeller shaft or whatever. I don't know shit about helicopters either, but yeah, I kind of wanted it to look like it would work, so yeah, that was that. And then it conveniently had this little nice short piece of it on the end as well for the rear prop to sort of go onto. And then once I got that, yeah, it was just a case of filling it out. That's the engine, the generator. I didn't show this in the video, but I have a little wire sticking out, which I hated here, which if you look at the Memory Lounger, you'll see that there's that wire. And there's nothing I could do about that, but I had these big normal, you know, these barrel pieces, just one of those basically, tilted and sort of sticking out. It covered that piece there, and but it didn't look that good. I didn't like the look of the barrel, and when I sort of showed the prototype picture again in the Discord chat to my friends, you know, it was like, oh, the barrel's a bit too big. So anyway, we took it out, and I ended up putting these in. Now it kind of bothered me that it didn't cover up this wire, but still, you know, what can you do? So I only showed it from this angle there, which kind of cheating a little bit, but there's nothing I could do. It just didn't look right with the bigger barrels on. These look better because you've got all these little pipes and things on them. So, but yeah, just I've used a lot of flamer traps in this build, actually, thinking about it now. Used quite a few. And then this just seemed to be perfect. The Memory Lounger comes with these feet on it, look, and I used to use the minigun tipped upside down just to kind of get that perfect little arm that it's attached to. Just looks nice. and the same on that side. And then some of the parts, the AC ducting, which covers the blue flame from the other side of the flamer, but again it just looks more interesting. So there's some more supports from that same support mod. Again, these are tilted. All these objects that I've used, there's like repeated versions of them, like for example in the legs, it's the same one from the same mod, but just tilted in different ways in reverse to each other, so it makes it look like there's a different one. So there's two there, for example, two on the tail, and then there's chain link posts for the feet. And then finally the propellers went through a few different stages as well. I totally forgot about these parts. These are in USC. No, USO. What the fuck? USO. These are in USO, and basically they're like real slim floor panels, I think, in the metal section. And I had straight ones on originally, but they didn't look right. No one liked the look of them that I showed it to, so I went for the effort of changing these parts and just sort of putting like the straight and then the slightly tilted down one, which makes it look like there's a bit of weight to the propeller, which is what I wanted originally anyway, but I just completely forgot about these pieces. So I'm glad I did go to the effort to change them in the end. I doubt anybody really even noticed, but still, they definitely look better. And then the centerpiece is just a piece of conduit, and same for the rear piece. And that is pretty much it. There's not a lot to this one. You can see there's a what you call it, a terminal, and then a slightly tilted piece of conduit, and then a chair that I've just put in, just because the original one didn't look quite right for it. And that's it for the controls. But yeah, it's pretty easy. I might make some more of these helicopters in the future. This is the first one I've ever made. I have made an aircraft before. I made a seaplane, which is in one of my other builds. It's the under the bridge one. But yeah, I've never really done any other aircrafts, but I quite enjoyed doing that. I might do ones in the future. There's nothing else to talk about up here really. You can pretty much see what the helipad is. It's nothing special. The H on the floor is just tilted yellow pieces. I could have stole a normal helipad piece. There's lots in the game. There's one not that far from here actually, but they're quite big, and I didn't want to do it that big, and also I just can't be bothered to go and get it really. I'm just lazy, so I just use that instead. The tower is from Akiras Clutter, I think, and I've just added my own parts to it. Which I can't click, but you can see it's a recruitment radio beacon, and then the dummy satellite dish that I can't click to up there, it's too high, and then there's a terminal. You can see the top of the rain catcher up here. So yeah, so this was near the end of the build, but I still kind of hadn't finished the sort of the finishing touches. I hadn't even done, I think, the lights and things on the fences yet at this point. So I put the chopper in, and a lot of the supports and stuff, like things like this catwalk. Again, I do those near the end. I don't bother putting them in straight away. The fencing as well at the end I did. A lot of the times I'll build fences like early on in the build to kind of map out the size of the place, but this one I kind of did sort of mid to early. The fire I did near the end, mainly because I wanted just to use this space for something really. It just seemed like a logical thing to do outside if your house would have a big fire. I didn't think it'd be in your yard as such, so I thought I'll put it out the front here. Just thought it'd be something cool to have there. I was going to have it in that area there, but like I say, it just seemed more sensible to have it away from the grass and stuff on the concrete. But yeah, I think that's everything. I think I've probably talked to your ears off enough. If you've got any questions or anything that I've missed, or any mods that you may be unsure of, just give us a shout in the comments. I normally will reply to everyone. It's something I try and do as much as possible. I'm not always as fast, you know, depends basically on how busy I am, but I will try and reply. So yeah, by all means, drop me a comment, let me know what you think, and yeah, and I'll probably do this format more so in all the other behind the scenes, where I'll kind of talk more about the sort of the ins and outs of it, really, rather than just dissecting it. I know that that's useful to some people obviously as well, so I will do both, but yeah, it will kind of be more about the process, because I think that helps people sort of get an idea of how they kind of like sort of plan out their stuff as well, really. But I'll go from there. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you get something from this. I hope you find it useful. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed and you want to see more, and then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you guys, bye for now.